Today we're gonna explore something that I think is pretty cool and is one of the most unique camera related releases of the past year or so, and it involves 3D printing some camera parts. If you've ever heard of the brand Edelkrone, they make some really good stuff, and this is not a sponsored video. I just got an Edelkrone Slider 1, which is amazing. It's what my camera's on right now, and that's an upgrade to my 7-year-old manual slider, which this thing's great. It's just a big hunk of metal, and then the camera slides nice and smooth on it. It's great, but it's not motorized, and it's really big. So I upgraded to the Edelkrone one, which has a motor. It's great, I'll do a whole review on it. But today we're talking about something that goes on top of that slider, which is the FlexTILT head. So instead of a normal tripod head, Edelkrone has kind of this, like, it's one that sort of expands out and you can position your camera in all these different ways. It's really cool. I have a few of them at work that we use, but it's about $150. However, for $30, you can go on their website and you can download 3D print files and make your own fully licensed legit version. And I wanted to check that out because that is $30 is way more affordable than $150. So I printed all the parts for this using the Prusa Mini and the Prusa Mark II MKS2. That's one that's always hanging out back there. And then I used purple and blue filament. And that's kind of the cool thing when it comes to 3D printing these parts. You can even put some of these parts into like a CAD program and do some engravings, make some modifications. It's really cool, just the opportunities that it opens up. And then the colors and customization, of course, you can make it look all sleek and pro and black. But I went with purple and blue because I really like these colors and I really like this filament. So I've got all the parts printed. All in all, it took about 20 hours of printing total. Not because these parts are huge, but because they have a really high infill, which basically is just how hollow or not hollow the parts are. Typically when I do regular 3D prints, the infill's set at somewhere like 15 or 20%. 0% would be totally hollow, 100% would be just a solid brick of plastic. And what Edelkrone recommended for these was to use 80 to 100% infill, which is really a lot, and that makes them much stronger, but also increases the print time. So I did all of these parts at 80% infill just to reduce some of that print time a little bit. And they seem to be really strong. Ultimately, are these parts gonna create something that I would trust my wonderful, beloved EOS R or any of my other, expensive camera gear? That's something you would trust your camera gear to be on top of. So for $30, you get access to the prints, and then you also get a kit of parts that are not 3D printed. So not the whole thing is 100% 3D printed. There's still some machined parts and screws and things like that. Before I try to assemble this thing, I will put a link down in the description to the page where you can look at this and order it. It was a little bit tricky since it's 2 parts. As soon as you pay your $30 and order it, they'll send you out the non-printed parts. But to get the files, on their website it says click here, step 1 to order your parts, and then step 2, download these files. Please make sure you actually download the files there from that link. The only thing that was in here was an instruction manual that just has a link to a YouTube video that shows how everything is assembled. And that's really helpful, but there's no info at all about where to actually download the print files. So it's on the website, on the same page that you actually place the order from. And I do have to say, these are the best 3D printed parts I've ever printed so far. Every one of them printed perfectly the first time. When you load them up into your slicer, they're oriented perfectly. There's no need for supports. There's no crazy overhangs. Everything just prints really well and really clean, and I'm excited to see how this all fits together. Let's just jump straight into it. I put them all on a sheet here just because it'll kind of label them out. And then in this box, I haven't really gone through this yet. So when you get the non-3D printed parts, it comes in this box. I have gone through the instruction manual because it does explain how to do everything, which is really cool. And then every single page of the instruction manual has a link to their YouTube video of how to put it all together. But in here then we've got a few of their parts. I'm not entirely sure what all these do offhand. You got this little circly thing, and these are all really nice, metal machined parts. We got one Edelkrone branded part for the top, and then this I think is the other side of that, but it's got a cool, it's not a sticker, it's actually right etched into it. And it says, the secret of change is to focus all your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And that's kind of cool. I mean, obviously, the drive towards letting customers print their own parts and assemble your product, they're trying to embrace something new and different. I think that's pretty awesome. And then we've got a little box here. That just has some screws, an Allen key, a rubber pad, and some washers. And that's it. Those are all the parts. So for $30, this is what you get. I'm gonna try to assemble this following the manual. We'll see how that goes. Might need to switch to the YouTube video as time goes on. All right, so it looks like, man, it might be easier to just use the YouTube video. They label things really weird on here. So like part number 6 is X16, part number 7 is X11, part number 8 is X10, part number 13 is X9, part number 1 is X17, number 2 is X1, number 4 is X4, but number 5 is X3. It's a little confusing. So we're just gonna use the YouTube video. So we start with the one that has the message on it, and we basically just put it into here. It fits in pretty darn good. There's not like any extra space. Let's see how the screws fit in here. All right, everything seems to be aligned pretty well, at least on this first part, which gives me hope for the rest of it. Oh yeah, that's like super flush. Nice. So the YouTube video is just like, it's just sort of like an animation that shows everything going together. There's no voice or narration or anything. This piece with the nameplate on it goes here. All right, now what? Now they come together. Oh, wait, how did it? Oh, okay. Does this have a front or does it matter? Okay, so this is the front. What did I do wrong? Oh, I did it totally backwards. All right, there we go. This actually looks pretty dang cool. It feels real strong. Once you get these metal parts mixed in with the plastic parts, it really gives it a solid feel. I don't think you could really break it. Up next, we're gonna do the part that attaches the camera. All right, so our 1/4-20 screw just sits right on this knob. Look how well these screws fit into these parts. So these go through here. And then they just go right into this part here, which will eventually go into the camera. Oh, wait, what? So these two pieces here interlock really well. Like, look at that, look at this. So the first thing we'll do is put these together. So now I've got this part moving freely. And then the rubber pad has adhesive on one side. And then just line it up. Look at that. I have my whole camera mount here. Look at this. This is a cool, this is perfect. Oh, that's a whole thing. Hang on, okay. We're on this step right now, and between the video and this, it's a little complicated. Now we're switching angles. Okay. Okay, so we've got the top platform, and we have one of the supports, and then this is gonna go into one of the other supports. So I just noticed there is a mistake. On this page of the manual, step 9, it shows this little crossbar, one of the arms, and then a washer. But in the animation, it shows the bar, washer, and then they're basically, I don't know if you can tell, but they're basically reversed. The position of this washer doesn't make sense. I think the instruction manual is correct. This crossbar piece is square on one side and it fits perfectly into this print. And then the washer can go on that side. And then when we bring in our other piece, these two connect. And then the washer is in between the joints right there. There we go, that makes a lot more sense. I got this whole thing going on. These little connectors here, this is like one part, and it sort of has this little mouth, and then there's these other parts, I guess it's a tongue and groove, right? Is that what it's called? And it just fits inside, and then you put a screw right through it to hold them together, and that's how you're mounting all these pieces together. But you want the washer to go in between these different supports, not only to add space, but then to allow for some movement. So now over here, we just work backwards. This first connector, put it through here, Then we add a washer. Then we add this. It'll be really interesting to see how this holds up over time, if like the movement and the friction and all those things, if it causes any wear on these 3D printed parts. Okay, now we bring in the base part again. Whoa, that was a crazy little bit of motion there. I don't know what we just did. This connector fits in perfectly to the little square part here. Boom. Then we got our washer. Then we got our washer. There we go. These are the basics. Do this whole thing. And then, how does it go together? Did I do it backwards? This should be over there. It's not. I put this whole part on backwards. These little dog bone looking pieces here, they shouldn't be going up, they should be going down. Yes, this makes a lot more sense. Yes, because then it goes exactly perfect. And then the whole thing opens up. You can position it. Now, it's super not tightened yet, so we need to adjust that. Next step are these things. This is also our tripod mount, so it's kind of crucial. All right, so for this bottom part, there's sort of this like, I don't know what you would call it, but there's this channel that's in here. And as this is turning now, it won't turn all the way. It has stops at the end because there's this piece of plastic right here. All right. So this is it. Now, we are gonna tighten up these screws all the way because right now it would never support a camera. You actually have to adjust them to have the friction and the tension that you want, and that will support your gear. There we go. So now it moves and does all the things that it's supposed to do. Let's take this camera off. Now let's see. All right, it's not like a fluid tripod head or anything like a, you know, super expensive video head, but let's see, let's put Sony a7 III with a 24-70 lens on it. It's not going anywhere, except for there. I think the toughest part is just gonna be to find the tension in this screws that works. I mean, it's holding it at all the angles that I need it. You pop this on your slider, especially if you've got like the Edelkrone motorized panning thingy, and then it will just pan your shot. You position your camera wherever you want. That's pretty good. $30. I mean, I guess the printed materials probably came out to maybe another $4 plus the time it took to print them. And then, you know, realistically, like if you don't have a 3D printer or you don't know anything about 3D printing, this isn't gonna be a great choice. So it's good for somebody who already has those things, is already comfortable with it. But this is pretty cool. And then it just goes together. And that's it, there's your whole tripod head. It's pretty good. One thing I didn't notice is the plate up here kind of comes apart here a little bit. What I think I'm gonna do is just throw some super glue in here so this doesn't come apart. And then, there it is. This is really cool. I'm gonna do a follow-up review after I've used this for a while on a few more videos, and we'll see how it holds up and the pros and cons of it. But for $30, I mean, this is really neat. I've never quite seen anything like this, and it was a really fun project to put together. So just make sure if you're doing this, follow the links that I'm gonna put in the description. And then also, you kind of do need to use the instruction manual and the animation that's linked in here. And as we found out, there's some discrepancies, so there's stuff in here that doesn't match up with the animation. And you know, I made a few mistakes along the way, so just give yourself the time to make and fix those mistakes. If you are interested in more 3D printing for camera related things, I did put together a whole video of some of my favorite camera related 3D prints, so check that out, fire up your printer and make some cool projects.